Ahmed Rashid is a renowned expert and author on the history of the Taliban. I asked him what we know about this new generation of Taliban and their plans for Afghanistan.
Well, at the moment, they still haven't spelt out what kind of political building they're going to create in Kabul. They've already denounced elections. They've denounced the tribal council. How are they going to choose their cabinet, their leader, their president? Will they bring in other Afghans from other ethnic groups who are not Taliban? First of all, I mean, we have to know something about the government. And frankly, at the moment, we know nothing at all as to what they want.
And if you're a woman in Afghanistan, how should you view the coming days, with fear and trepidation or tempered optimism?
Well, that fear and trepidation is very much there already, and women are extremely fearful, and it's quite justified that they are, because some of the smaller acts of violence against women have already taken place in places like Herat in the west, and where girls have been barred from going to university, and another woman was killed. But the Taliban have promised that the girls will be allowed to go to school, they will be allowed to work and leave the house. The whole problem is implementation. And there are going to be young commanders who are not going to be happy about this and will be not happy about implementing it. And an older generation, which saw the mistakes that it made in the 90s when they ruled Afghanistan earlier, I'm sure that they are going to be perhaps more accommodating.
How will powers around Afghanistan view this new Taliban? I'm thinking in particular of Iran, Pakistan and India.
Well, certainly Iran and Pakistan already will have built up quite good relations with the Taliban. The Pakistanis, of course, have been helping the Taliban in many instances. And the Taliban leadership is living mostly in Pakistan. Iran has also developed good relations with the Taliban in Western Afghanistan. The Central Asians have been trying to do the same. And so has China, which also is a neighbor of Afghanistan. So where the problem will be from the Western countries, I think, who will be very reluctant to endorse a Taliban regime if it is seen to be practicing or allowing some of its younger generation to be practicing cruelty against women, children, and restricting education, etc. A big issue is now how is the region going to approach the Taliban? Because with the Taliban at the moment comes drugs, comes weapons, comes refugees. It's not a happy picture for any country trying to deal with the Taliban right now. And we have to see whether the Taliban are going to take a positive view and try and mitigate some of these disastrous consequences of this very rapid advance.
It's been suggested that the speed of the US and Western withdrawal was perhaps designed to draw in Russia and China further into the security demands of this region. Is there any credibility about that suggestion?
No, I mean, I don't think so. The fact is that every country in the region is already involved with trying to make good with the Taliban, but they are also extremely nervous at this point in time. Many of these countries have militant groups like Al-Qaeda, Pakistani groups, Central Asian groups. Many of these militant groups have been fighting with the Taliban against the Kabul government. Now, what are they going to do with them? Neighboring countries are urging the Taliban to get rid of them. But how do you get rid of them? And there's thousands of these militants now who are in Taliban ranks. And I fear very much that this is going to be the next issue. Not attacks on the West as such, but attacks more on neighboring states and a huge boost to Islamic radicalism in the region, in China, in Central Asia, in Pakistan, and people are very fearful of this and there is what results it could lead to.